So we wanna get the gravel bucket to help pick up the trees and make a nice pile. I know last week you guys talked about wanting to open up bids and stuff here. I've already seen them, because they came through email and phone calls, but just to do the example, this is what you guys would get. So, I don't know how you wanna, do it, you wanna open it, look at them, decide on the spot what you wanna do. But this is kinda how it would be.
So we have a bid from Standards and Implement for $3,900.
Yeah, there's, lots of different options on there.
And so, what one are we looking
Right. That's why
at? That's why, yeah.
sometimes, we want this one. It's a 74-inch wide, the 10-inch gaps and tines. And that's a price we got quoted earlier this year, because we sent requests in for these, because we wanted to submit them for a roadside vegetation management grant. We got denied, because we got grants the last 2 years. Yeah, so that's fine. Yeah, no, we'll continue to.
So we've got bid from Standards and Implement for $3,900 and one from T&K Midwest John Deere for $4,550.
Yeah, now, we wanna make sure that they are the same thing. It's a 72-inch, and then make sure that it is the rock. And then they had also sent out a bid for, I believe, Elwood's, and that came back at more than this, and it was via email, and I tried to, George is gone today, so I couldn't get his email, but we did ask Elwood's too, so.
Okay.
But I think we wanna go with the,
Standards and Implement?
yeah, for 3,900.
You think that both bids are the same criteria that we're
Yeah.
on? So-
Yeah.
Okay.
That, from looking what I did, I can tell you that, yes, this is what we want, but if I bring it in, unlooked at,
A motion to
We would
approve
have
the
to-
bid for Standards and Implement for $3,900. Any discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
I'm also sending out bids this week for, by PVC for tile outlets when we're ditching. So what do we wanna do there? Do I ask for bids there to open those in front of you guys? Cause those might be Cedar Rapids and local and what,
How many are you going to get?
they're gonna be anywhere from like 6 to 8 to 12 inches in diameter, and then I'm not sure what he wanted in feet, maybe 100 feet of each or something like that. So the bill will be, over 1,000, it'll be thousands. Well, it might not be, I guess it's just, I'm not sure. By the time you add delivery, and I don't know what 12-inch, the 12-inch ones
We
cost.
set a dollar amount or something.
Yeah.
There is one somewhere.
I'm just, I guess I'm just trying to have a hard time trying to figure it, like,
Well,
what,
we're trying not to tie your hands either.
because those, if you're worried about me, the ethics behind it, something like that, that is a small dollar amount, but those are local bids. To where some of my other things are larger amounts, but also, we're buying gloves this week too. I can get them, good on Amazon or the catalogs we get, so $5 set of gloves, or do I gotta look local to buy them 7, or can I just go, hey, they're right here for 5, call them up, what's the large quantity discount, good, I'll take them.
So I'll talk about this after the meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's have the road committee meet with you.
So, the bridge north of town, the beams are set, they are decking. I think they're gonna shoot to pour late next week. The bridge down by Awesome's Corner, it's been real slow this week with the rain, so they've gotten nowhere. The road maintenance, it was slow for Timmy D up on 110th, trying to get that narrowed up a bit. He made a little bit of headway, but maybe one day, not much. We did spot rock for at least 2.5 days, everybody going. So that's, yeah, it's looking kind of like last year, so we're trying to get as much rock out there as possible. Today, they are putting guardrail on we have a culvert down on 220th Street that was probably built in the 1940s, and in the 60s or 70s, it had an extension put on with piling. Those wood piling are shot. Well, in order to replace the whole structure, it would be somewhere, 80,000, 90,000. Well, we have other bridges that I'd like to fix first, so we are just putting a guardrail on the edge that'll come 2-3 feet into the edge of the road to try to get the traffic to move away from that particular side. Fixing a walk bridge in Amana, and there's some drainage issues underneath it that I think me and Slay went out there yesterday, we can get those resolved on Monday. And a bunch of the week, we are shouldering F-67 down there at the southeast corner. I think we're up to like 1,000 tons of rock for there, so it's, they've been able to go down to the Westchester quarry, but it still just takes a long time to get that much rock down there, so. They are making good progress, it takes a lot of man hours and stuff. And then yesterday we did try that road groomer out on 190th and some other roads east of Conroy. There was a little bit of a learning curve, and I think there will be for everybody, but the results that I saw yesterday, I thought it looked pretty good. So, and he pulled up a lot of material and moved it it was flowing out the end to sit there on the crown to help build it up. So, yeah, by the time that we got going up there, I think he did a great job. So it'll be getting a couple of the other guys to get on board, but that's my job. We'll make sure that happens. Still a bunch of FEMA stuff. We had another meeting with her. We're making slow progress, but progress. Lots and lots of utility permits. I'm not sure why, but they're gonna have lots of new fiber throughout the whole county. And our guys, the techs, closing out 2 projects. So next week I'll need on the agenda the final voucher for it's at the bottom, STP Parent 79, it's the Lake Road, so everything's good there. They got the Blairstown Road finished out too, they're just having to wait on a change order, but we'll have that come across your desk here in a couple weeks. And then we did spend some time doing beam calculations and some other calculations for the bridges. So that is what we have been up to.
I thought we had replaced a bunch of walk bridges last year, didn't we, or last?
We replaced 3, 4, 5, something like that last winter. And then this spring, we replaced about 3 more, because somebody was going around and running them over. And then this particular one, somebody had a little fun with the guardrail, or the side rails, shook those loose, and, but then also there was a drainage issue underneath, so there must be a drain under there somewhere. And it must have got plugged with 20 years of, runoff from the road. That water has been standing in there, and it rotted out the underside a lot. So we got to go up there. I was able to probe around. There was that much water in it yesterday, and I probed around. I came back an hour later, and the water was gone. So I opened it up somehow. But now on Monday, I got to get 3 or 4 guys with some shovels and buckets to dig down, see what's going on, and then we'll put the new one back, so. Yeah, we have replaced a lot, but what we are currently also replacing, I would say 80% is because somebody takes them out.
Sure. Well, that makes sense, because I was wondering if I know we're getting caught up on.
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure that they do some of those, we pick out some in the winter time, but, you know, that spring really kinda hurt when somebody took their car around and
Yeah.
ran them over.
Yeah.
I think the windmill company dropped, about 1,000 tons of gravel too, is what the plan was.
Anybody have anything else for Nick?
Okay, have a good weekend.
Yes, sir. No,
Yes, leave early today.
So,
You're leaving today, right?
Correct.
Okay. They were talking about wanting to meet with you, but it wouldn't be today,
Correct.
because you're leaving. That's why you're here early.
Yes.
we can still talk about it afterwards.
Yeah, I would talk about it and then we can, I really think though you should stop by and I can give you the whole list of, I mean, you guys see the claims, so you know that we buy a load of stuff, so. But yeah, next week that would be good, cause I buy a lot of stuff.
okay.
All right, communication.
I'll start it out. Work to Iowa workforce redevelopment, and I can't believe kind of how much is going on. There were, most of their money comes from the Department of Labor, and there were some findings by the Department of Labor in 2017, 2018. They don't like how Iowa does their workforce development, their Iowa Work Service Centers, things like that. So, we don't know the final answer yet, but there's an appeal pending on this. They want to change the number of regions from 15 to 6. So it's gonna cause everything to kind of be started all over and reorganized all over again. There is an appeal, but they have an agenda to get all these new regions totally set up within the next year, and there's stages in that. There's a chief elected officers group I'm part of for Region 4. We're supposed to set up the board, and there's just a very long list of criteria and things that have to be done. 51% of the people on the board have to be business owners. There's just a lot of things. They're gonna actually have to rebid the Iowa Works Service Centers, who runs them. One of the things the Department of Labor didn't like was that we turned over too much of the responsibility to the community colleges. They feel it should be run by the boards and decide what to do. So some of them have to be rebid. They'll have to decide if they want financial agents, composition of the board. So there's gonna be another meeting on November 7th and, November 5th in Region 4 I'm part of. This still could just be all upset by the fact that the appeal is won and they say we'll stick with 15 regions after all. So it has a big effect on the Iowa Works Service Centers, how it's gonna be handled in the future, how many there will be, things like that. So that's kind of all I know. I went to kind of very lengthy meeting in Coralville on that Wednesday. But I'll let you know more when I find out. Talked to Jamie of the Economic Commission, and she's gonna call in and see about scheduling a time to, cause it's been a while since she's been in, update the board on what they have in mind for helping business growth in Iowa County and some projects they have underway. So she'll be scheduling that for the summer. That's it.
I did see where they had, they were saying something about Big G, the Iowa Economic Development.
Okay. Hopefully she can update
They
us
were
on that.
promoting Big G, so I don't
Yes,
know how.
yeah, they had their social media campaign about this. They're gonna feature 10 businesses on social media, but we're also trying to get them in the newspaper and work something out on that too. So that's supposed to start by later this month, I think.
I went with Scott and Aaron up to Rockwell to meet the new distributor. They're supposed to be closing down some divisions up there. this guy claims he thinks in 7 years, probably the whole thing will be shut down. I'll pull it all out of there. So yeah, they got a bunch of, they were trying to get some power out of it. They got there 15 minutes too late.
Here's a look at that.
Somebody got ahead, just,
Drove too slow.
first come, first served.
I did get signed up for Heritage, and they meet the, second Tuesday of the month, so I haven't sent in any of that paperwork. Well, I'm waiting on some in the mail too, so. But
Anything else? There's a liquor license for, come and go?
Renewal.
No?
A renewal,
Renewal.
yes,
You know, yeah.
sorry.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed, motion carries. And we have watershed resilience grant, probably question 57.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed, motion carries.
What number would we be at before we start coming dirt? 30?
Sally?
All right, we're a little ahead of schedule, but we can do open forum. Anybody have anything for open forum?
Hi, I'm Bronwyn Berman. I was wondering if you could give us an update on the ordinance? Like the.
Go ahead.
You go ahead.
John and I have been talking, and you were waiting to get back some information you told
Yeah,
me.
and I haven't got that yet. They haven't got back to me yet, so we're close to finishing up.
Okay, would you care to, I don't know, like, share more details of what you have planned for the ordinance?
No.
No, not until it's presented.
Yeah.
Okay,
Just so you know, that's the same answer I get, so.
We haven't told any of them, and we're still trying to.
John and I are negotiating it.
Yes.
You are working on it.
okay.
Yep.
Also, I'd like to just say, have you heard about how Adair County had a cap on their on their ordinance, like to prevent any further wind turbines? After they had 550 of them?
Yep.
I just had to bring that up because I found it just crazy that there's that many wind turbines, and like, that's a ridiculous amount, if you're asking me. It's just crazy. I'm like, does anyone even live in Adair County anymore? Because who would ever want to live around that many wind turbines? Can you honestly tell me why anyone would want to live near that many wind turbines?
I don't live in Adair, so no.
But they must, or they wouldn't keep building them, I guess, I don't know. Powashik County's gonna have how many?
Over 500, I bet.
That's what I've heard, but I don't know if that's true or not.
I know, you look at the pictures up there and you're just go, wow, like, you look at the pictures that they have of Powashik County and it's just sad, honestly, to see how many wind turbines are just there destroying people's health and farmland and everything. It's just sad. Which, I was wondering, is there, like, can I request or, like, suggest a moratorium to prevent wind turbines after, like, these 78? Just prevent them for a year. until we understand and know the repercussions of this current project. Can we do that?
You can, I mean, it's been suggested several times.
Okay, so what would it take to put one in place?
Well, that would be what they would do instead of an ordinance, I guess,
Yeah.
would be a moratorium.
Are you willing to do that?
I don't think so this time.
Yeah,
Why not?
I just am not in favor of it right now.
But why don't you like the idea of less winter events?
I don't have a reason for why I don't wanna limit them.
So if you don't have a reason, then why not?
Why?
Well, why not?
You can't give me a good reason for why.
I'd like to suggest a good reason for why we need a moratorium is because
Well,
we don't
they have
have
the
any
floor right now.
ordinance.
They have
It's
the
not
floor right
gonna-
now,
I'm willing to hand it over to her.
if you're done.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'd like to suggest the reason we need a moratorium is we don't have an ordinance. We've got uncontrolled, unorderly growth in our county that the citizens have not agreed upon. So we need a moratorium until we can get citizen approval for some kind of an ordinance.
Okay.
Just to elaborate on the question with the ordinance, kind of rewinding to that, I know last week it was said that you were working on an ordinance. I came today hoping that there would be something in place and we would be closer. Sounds like you're still hammering some issues out. So I guess my question, can we set a goal to have it ready to go by next Friday? And maybe get some hearings in place? Is that a
That's
reasonable
up to you, I'm ready.
timeframe?
As long
You're the one looking for more information.
well, as long as we come to terms with it, yeah, I mean, that's our intent.
But would we have to have that on the agenda though?
That was, so that, yeah, was
Yeah.
the next question, can we put it on the agenda for next week and
Well,
send
I gotta
that?
put it
You're
on
ready
there,
for that?
not until I mean, for sure have it, I mean, but it
Not
doesn't
ready.
take 24 hours to put it on the agenda.
Okay,
It's not a huge deal.
so we could do like a follow-up by Thursday possibly to see if you're ready to go and then get it put on
Yeah.
for Friday and with the hopes of
Yep.
getting something going and
Yep.
talking next Friday again. Thanks.
I have a couple of questions as well. John, I guess I didn't hear, I don't know if I caught it, Kevin said, but I was just curious, who are you following up with and getting information from?
Well, several people, we're just discussing different items in the ordinance that we're not agreeable on, so we're trying to find out more information on things.
Or is it from citizens or from like Power
It's from all kinds of
Iowa
people.
or?
I'm not gonna, I mean, that's why we're in negotiations over it,
Okay,
so.
okay. My second question is, when you guys met with Invenergy, I don't know which ones did, because you guys couldn't all meet with them, but two of you obviously did, because in their follow-up email, they said that they had enjoyed the meeting. But when they were talking about this is when we were talking about, they met with you to talk about how they would give you a list of agreeable things that they would, let you guys enforce in an ordinance or in the Diamond Trail Agreement. Did they ever explain, the hog confinement, chicken and cattle confinement thing, why they do 12 to 1,300 feet setback from those?
I don't know what she's talking
I
about.
don't remember that meeting.
I'm aware of anything.
Do you guys know, I guess in general, do you know what the 12 to 1,300 setback, what the reasoning is behind that?
I don't know.
I don't know either, other than one idea that someone brought up maybe is that it's in more in the state level in the hog confinement, things can't be built within so many feet of a
I
hog
think that's
confinement.
probably what they followed along was on the master matrix and.
That's what I'm guessing. I just wanted to raise the idea that maybe if livestock in confinement need 12 to 1,300 feet of protection, I would think in my mind that the grazing animals or other animals that are the same livestock that are not in a confinement should be afforded the same protection. And something else that dawned on me the other day too was the idea that if you had like not a residence, but you had a shop or a business shop or something out in the middle of these wind farms, they wouldn't be afforded any protection at this time because they're not a residence. Is that correct?
Correct.
So maybe we should write something in there too, because if the residence is protected and hog confinements are protected, places where we confine humans, quote unquote, you know, that should maybe have a setback distance in there too to have equal protection.
One comment, I know I've heard about quite a setback from confinements, and I don't know the official reason or the only reason, like confinements tend to draw eagles.
What now?
Confinement tend to draw bald eagles,
Because of the carcasses and,
but whether that's their official reason, I don't know, but I've heard that is one reason why they stay back from them.
okay.
Yes?
Yeah, I would just like to say I agree with her on possibly having a moratorium till we find out, since we're kind of guinea pigs for these wind turbines. There are no other wind turbines this big anywhere else in the state, so we don't really have a lot of information on them. And then there was a map passed out of Pilot Township, which is a township I live in, and John's familiar with that area as well. And at least one area referenced is not occupied by a non-participant, but a landowner who's in favor of wind turbines. So that landowner should be able to waiver the half-mile setback if they wanted to. I think you need to include the ability for people to waiver their setbacks someplace in the ordinance, so to make more land available to the people that actually want wind turbines. What would and has kept the majority wind turbines from being placed in the area in Pilot Grove are cemeteries, hog confinement facilities, power lines, airports, sensitive natural areas with threatened and endangered species in the area, hilly forested topography, and people who refuse to sign an easement. The half-mile setback from non-participating residences is required, as requested by over 1,000 people in this county, would make little difference in the placing of wind turbines in the Pilot Grove Township. The map assumes that all the area in green is land owned by people who want wind turbines, and many of the areas in green is land not signed up for easements and owned by people who do not want wind turbines on their property. So since last April, I've been asking for an ordinance to protect people of Iowa County based on science, not politics. But since there are no almost 600-foot tall wind turbines anywhere else in the state to look at, we are truly the guinea pigs here in Iowa County. And I suggest you request the computer models, again, done by Invenergy on shadow flicker and noise in the Diamond Trail area, to determine the impact of these industrial machines on surrounding property, our natural resources, and the people in the area. And I ask again that you protect the people of Iowa County in the way our county engineer has protected our roads by getting protections in writing and getting at least $20,000 or more to cover administration and notification costs up front, as was done in the road agreement. And that way, you can notify people of upcoming industrial wind farm projects, and the taxpayers in Iowa County should never again feel blindsided by a massive industrial use invading their peaceful agricultural community. Thank you.
Thank you. Dale?
Number one, I apologize.
Yeah, we started early, I'm sorry.
Okay, so I missed out on what Abby said. You guys got the, you should.
Abby didn't say anything about
Okay.
you or anything.
No, I mean the CC letter you got on my
Yeah.
measurements. That was all forwarded to you.
Yes, we all got it. That
Wasn't-
hasn't been mentioned.
Wasn't addressed at all? Okay, it's addressed over here. When I did that last week, and the recording says it was based on, I just picked 19 at random, not an actual map. So I think what I would like to do, I mean, if you are okay with it, number one, I went back and looked at mine, and my map was inaccurate on one place. I didn't include a residence. It actually added more. So when I told you 50 last week, I've got copies of all that. If you want it, it's a copy of the old one I handed in to you. The new one I did with a protractor or compass, which is exactly a half mile, or, give or take. And then a copy of the township itself, just to show the residences. But if you want it, I've got copies. But I would like to acquire a map of the easements, and before we even consider an ordinance, draw those circles. And I will hire, or I will do somebody to do that. I'm gonna talk to Invenergy if their office is still open, because it does. At 2,000 foot negates it. I will probably, go a half mile, go 2,000 foot, and just, let's really take a look at how it does impact the people that signed up. And forget about any future projects, and as I stated earlier last week, a moratorium, maybe for future projects, yeah, but I feel like we should be grandfathered in. And then I went back and I listened to every meeting that I was at and things I said and so forth, so on. And in our meeting of 4, and whether you agree or disagree, because, I called Sherry when I left here last time and she reiterated what I thought I said, but okay, but.
There must have been some misconceptions.
Okay, and now I'm forgetting my train of thought in the meeting of 4, but anyway, it's, the half mile is my biggest thing, and I would just like to get an accurate map and draw it back. Oh, okay, the meeting before I was asked to be on that board, I went back and listened to it, and I stated in there several times that I couldn't accept anything 2,000 foot or more. And that was, it's on video.
Why did you agree to be on the committee then?
Because when I was asked, why was I asked, is my question to you. If I was asked, I assumed we were working from 2,000 down. That's why.
Okay.
I mean, it's a reasonable.
Misunderstanding.
Well, the fact that I did it just before the meeting that I was asked, and I thought, okay, we're gonna make some advancement here. But my thing is that the biggest thing, I'd just like, before we even start considering an ordinance, I'd like to get a map, draw those circles at 2,000
Of the
25
existing easements?
easements, and just see what it truly does to stuff, or whether we take the whole county. It's too massive to take the whole county and do it, it'd be, but it absolutely kills it in this pilot township one. A half mile kills it, 2,000 doesn't kill it much more. Reference to the message you got forwarded to you in the entirety, was it a map of my place? Is that what you got? Okay. That thing, I got told how inaccurate I was. There's 6 or plus residents missing off that map, where she drew the yellow lines. There's at least 6 missing, and I think it's more like 7 that eat it up. The confinement thing, I walked in late, that's the 2 things I would ask for if you do an ordinance. Waive the confinement and waive the houses on participating residents. And I think that's an excellent idea. I never once, and I stated, that's where I was going, I stated at our committee of 4 meeting, I have no anticipation of ever getting a windmill. I'm not gonna do it. So when that map was drawn on some of our land, it's not even all of it, but it's right in that area, I knew I was getting no windmills there. That isn't why I'm here. It's about property rights, and that's all it is. I've gotten phone calls too, since that last meeting, that people do watch it, they watch the videos that are for property rights, and that's all I'm here about. Half mile takes them away. It's just fence line. That's, Dave Dermody stated it, and I understand, but that's all I have. Do you want these pictures or these drawings I did? All it does is substantiate what I did, and then the map. This one, those blue dots are hard to see. That shows the other 6 residences that are around there, that are just real close to it.
This is the new one, right?
That's the one that was forwarded to you guys. And this, I'm gonna keep one. This is that's just a section and how I came up with what I thought I reiterated and stated several times during that meeting last week that it was a hypothetical. I picked 19, at random, and I divided it up. But, so no, it's not based off who did and who didn't sign up. I thought I made that pretty clear last week, so. But, that's all I have. And then to request a meeting with John or Kevin, do you do it here, or I just make a phone call?
Yeah.
Make a phone call, okay, I got a group that would like to meet with you.
Okay.
have an easement map? Or does anybody have an easement map, other than the one that I made?
I don't.
Our committee of four, Jody said she had one.
From me,
She
yeah.
couldn't,
From
okay,
me.
you couldn't come up with it. And then Sherry thought she had one, correct? Okay,
I
that's
don't
part.
think Jody gave me one.
Okay, well, we never got it at the meetings, but
Okay.
she thought she had one. Sherry thought she had one. I think I don't know if she was at that meal. I wish, the meal at Marengo, I wish they had a map there, and I didn't snap a picture of it. I wish I would have. I will go to Victor and see if they'll give me one, but I don't know that they will.
Mid-America, no, we do not have an easement.
Okay, I didn't know if you did or not, that we could use if we wanted to do something.
Do you think they'll share it?
Mid-America?
Yeah. I don't think they want to. I mean, and I
I
understand that,
don't,
yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know, I mean,
Wouldn't that be public,
no,
record?
not Mid-America. I
It's a
mean,
recorded
well,
easement, it's up to
it's
you to go
recorded,
figure it
you
out.
can go
Well,
get it
that's
over
what I
there.
mean, it should be in the recorder's office.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go get it.
You could
over
make
there.
your own,
Yeah.
whether Mid-America
Right.
shares theirs, I don't know.
Yeah,
In Venergy.
There's nothing to
Is that
protect.
where, Sherry got hers?
I don't know. I just know she said that she had a copy of it, so I will talk
And
to her. and
in
see.
Venergy is out of this now.
yeah,
They're
they're,
gone?
they're closed.
I don't know if they still have an office or not.
I don't think so.
Except for the good neighbor agreements, we're supposed to talk to Sarah Everly at Invenergy, so I don't know if they're still,
Okay, maybe
they
they are
don't
still.
answer questions if you call, but I do know that the good neighbor agreements are directed to her, so.
Oh,
And it says their office, it says you can come to their office in Victor.
I have a question. Do any of the maps that you guys are getting take into consideration the waivers? The possibility of wavering, of people that want the turbines, signing a waiver to say, we don't need a half a mile setback, we want it in our backyard.
No,
Okay.
I would say.
I think that needs to be taken into consideration when you're trying to say the half mile is gonna kill it. Because, and you also need to take in consideration, the larger the turbines get, the less they need for a viable project. I mean, I've looked at wind turbine projects that only have a dozen wind turbines. Some just have a couple of dozen. You don't need 144 wind turbines to make a viable project, and
This went
especially.
from 110 to 77, which one of the bigger ones in.
Yeah, there's a map, a USGS map that has all the wind turbines in, well, across the United States and further. But you can look at all the wind turbine farms, the wind farms in Iowa, and it has the number of turbines, the kind of turbines, how tall they are. And if you look at that map, you will see that there are plenty of wind farms or industrial wind farms that have fewer wind turbines, and they must be still viable or they wouldn't have created them.
Yes.
I would just like to reiterate what the young lady over here said earlier about the moratorium. I think it's the most common sense thing that's been said here today. And I don't see any reason why we can't put a moratorium on future development until we can get some kind of an ordinance into place.
My rebuttal to that would be are you done, ma'am? Linda?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. My rebuttal to that would be, I'm still under the contention that any of us that have existing easements are under the original agreement. So that part, if they want a moratorium, it's on people that haven't signed easements.
Correct.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
That's what we're
fair
saying.
enough.
Yeah.
Do you guys know the legal standing on that then, as far as the,
Moratorium?
no, as far as the easements that are currently not being used by Mid-American? As far as they are not part of, they are or are not part of the Diamond Trail project?
The Diamond Trail project was 78 turbines,
It's done.
which is
Plus-
only
Okay.
77 now.
Plus
So
extra
you're saying
easements.
it isn't though, right?
Plus,
Plus
I would
extra
challenge
easements,
that,
so
yes.
Diamond Trail
Yeah.
was just sold from Invenergy to Mid-American, I think, approximately 4 weeks ago. And so not all of the easements went over on that sale, so there are some that most of them did, there were some that were not, so I would think that anything that was gonna be included or grandfathered into Diamond Trail would have to be those ones that were sold specifically as the Diamond Trail.
That's where I'm at with the gray.
A lot of the easements were never really gotten for wind turbines, they were gotten for,
Yeah.
collection lines.
But I'm saying like they sold it as a package, some of them
Right.
aren't getting wind turbines, but they were still sold in the transfer.
One thing to point out, I handed you those maps and the properties that were left off, that weren't on there, that affect my property. I mean, because my property is never, it wasn't part of the issue. I just picked Pilot Township because I was familiar with it. But if you took that, and of those 6, now I gotta go off memory, 4 of them are 5 acres or less owners. And their fingers go out a half mile, if it happens. So you go, they go 1,600 now. They weren't signed up because, why do they wanna sign up on 1 acre residence? Why would Invenergy do that? Because then they have to pay, the start, well, they're never gonna go across their lot. So that's what a 2,000, a 1,600, anything from a residence. And residents have rights, but what I'm getting at is the impact that had on it. There's one right near my property, they're 5 acres. There's another one that's 5 acres, and the other one's probably about 1 to 2 acres. And then I'm wrong, the other one is about 20 acres that it affected, of the 4 out of 6. So it makes a big difference.
But I think Denise is talking about the waiver too, I think the waiver should, if you're gonna do a waiver, have participating and non-participating residents be able to waive their rights. So I'm not signed up, but maybe I don't care if my neighbors goes less than a half mile from my home. I think that would be a good option too, to have both people be able to waive their, because I know in Poweshiek County you can waive it, but I'm pretty sure you have to be signed up. I don't think it applied to non-participating owners. So you could do that, if you applied to both, that would help out with.
So like you take into account his circumstance where it says, well, some of those aren't signed up because why would have they been? They
Yes,
had
that
nothing to
helps,
build on.
yeah, so that helps, because they,
Or you're saying you're not signed up, but you might not care if your neighbor had one 2,000 feet from you, but you don't want it, or if the law was a half mile, you'd want to be able to say, well, no, I would
I'll
be
take
agreeable
the
to 2,000 feet.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Or
I just
whatever.
want to make sure I understood what you were saying.
yeah.
Or less, yes, I was just using that as an example.
Yeah, whatever the setback is for the participating residences, I'm sure legally you have to go back to that, or even less, because the participating residences in Poweshiek County waived it, and they got some are 900 and some are 1,000, I looked through their recorder's office, so,
I think it'd be a good option for both sides to have that waiver ability.
yeah.
Right,
Depends on how
absolutely.
neighbors get along and what they wanna.
You don't wanna impede on your neighbor's land and their ability
Regardless
to
of how,
let-
if it's 2,000 or what it is, if I say, well, I'm not getting one, but if you wanna have a less than 2,000, that's okay with me.
Yeah.
Rita, you have something?
It's a question for Dale. Dale,
Yes.
turn around.
The best I can do. Go ahead.
I wanna know what this map is, because there's nothing explained. Is this, the last time you
That's
said
a
you
map.
just randomly picked, is this a real map of people that have signed
No,
up?
nobody has access to that.
So,
We've
yeah,
heard that.
yeah, you do.
Yeah, I have all the information, I mean.
So this isn't a real Dale.
Yes.
This isn't these
No,
people
it's
that have signed.
19 hypothetical
Okay.
people that didn't
Okay.
participate.
All right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, yeah. And do you have, but if you take it to the whole county, do you have that map and will you share it?
I made it, yeah, and I'm willing to
Okay.
share it, and I think that's where some of the frustration has came from, because, like, the easement map, I know Rita and Mary helped me with it too, and I spent probably 50 hours on that map. And so, there's a little bit of a frustration here, because, I've spent a lot of time making maps that are accurate, I only present things that I have, spent a lot of time, and so I wanna make sure that both sides are doing that too. But I'm willing to help you with that, and we could probably get together and draw up half mile, I'm sure.
Okay, but you don't like my hypothetical, so if you would supply me with an accurate map, and also when you forward it to me, I asked you forward it to them, so we're all looking at the
I
same
think we
thing.
have to draw on paper, because essentially we took plat maps, just like this size. We put them all together. So then to get a computerized version of that, I had to take a picture of it, and we lost a lot of the,
How did you acquire it?
I went on the recorder's office and looked at everything that came through under Diamond Trails, and left them out.
How long ago? Just so I know, so we know if we're current.
We're current, yeah, I've got every single easement on there, yeah.
Okay.
I did it, we updated it as it went, and,
We got a cemetery.
yeah.
Okay. If you can forward it to me.
Well, I don't have, that's what I'm trying to say, the computerized version, you or I are not gonna be able to read what the residences are, and the residences aren't on that one, it's the other version of the plat map. So that's something that we would have to sit down and like, I have to give you the paper version, you know, the poster version.
All right.
Okay.
So I'm asking.
So I'm just trying to get clarification here. Any new turbines coming in will be covered by, if we pass an ordinance, will be covered by this ordinance regardless of when the easement was acquired,
The
correct?
last ordinance that was presented, that was the case, yes.
Okay. But
I
I'm,
don't know,
all right,
you know as much about
All right.
the ordinance as I do.
theoretically, all right, if we pass an ordinance then,
I don't know. I mean, this grandfathering in easements. that was-
I'm trying to help get clarification for Dale so that, because there's some,
He doesn't get to know any more than you know,
okay.
so, I mean,
My understanding, I can have my meeting with you, you know, we can present what we'd like to
right,
present, and then when the ordinance is presented by you guys, that is what it is.
yeah.
Okay.
But I would say, this is my opinion, with stuff you've heard today, thinking you're gonna have something done by next Friday is probably a little aggressive. Or not. I'd rather you get it right than get it done in a hurry, but.
I sure would like to have a map with the half mile and the 2,000 drawn up on the existing easements before you'd consider, if that works.
My observation here today is you see what's happening. You see what's happening, and I feel like the cart got way ahead of the horse with how all this, we need to stop this from happening again. I would really suggest that we put a moratorium in place until an ordinance can be written. Take your time and do your ordinance. It can open back up to future easements. But you all hear and see what is happening in your board meeting every week. And everybody's trying to clarify what everybody else said and see, you know, does this apply there, does that apply there? And we're all talking and you all don't know the answers. And
That's because there's no ordinance referred to, that they're still working on it, so. That's why I say.
but
I'm
you
really
don't,
looking
you
for the
don't
time.
know the distances, you don't know where the easements are, you don't know how it will affect folks that live in this county. And you're playing with the lives, you're in charge of the lives of your constituents, and yet you're not, because you're not trying, but you don't have all the answers that you need to make a sound decision. So can we just stop with the insanity of letting things just snowball out of control and kind of rein it back in until we can figure out what is the right move? We're sitting here doing all the talking because we're passionate about this, and yet we just keep talking over each other, and you guys don't ever get a chance to answer. You guys don't ever get a chance to actually talk with each other in an open forum and discuss your ideas. That's why folks are frustrated. We come here each week hoping, I'm sorry, we come here each week hoping to hear, you know, what your thoughts are, and you all just look down and say, I'm not gonna disclose that. Well, that's why we're here, that's why it's an open meeting. That's my frustration.
Okay,
Well-
and then we need to move on. after you.
Okay, right. John, Kevin, Bruce, Vicky, you know, I've seen ordinances and how long it takes to put them together. And this could take us another 90 days. And I've been involved with ordinances before. I've seen them take up to 6 months. It would really behoove everyone in this county to put a moratorium and stop this all educated, all of us. None of you sitting there are experts in ordinances. None of us sitting in here are experts in ordinances. Let's slow it down. Let's please take some time. Let's put a moratorium in it today. And let's stop until we know what we're doing, please.
All right, thank you, everybody. You have something else to
Yeah, I would disagree with that unless you put in there, you know, grandfather any existing units.
And I would support that. Let's vote on it. Let's do it.
Okay, thank you for your comments, everyone. Scott?
Good morning. Yeah, that's fine.
You can just leave those chairs in there.
Yeah, we'll take care of it.
Just leave the chairs.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, unless you tried to touch your hand. Oh. He did.
Even though the doctor said it's healthy. Special nerve, is that?
No, we had a doctor here too. Scott?
All right. I know you guys have a lot to think about, but we kind of tabled this. I wasn't prepared last week, wanted to do some more thinking. One of the things that I wanted to do was also talk to Nick. I don't know if you guys even have time. I kind of sent you an email. As I said, you know, I have more time to think about it. Listen, you guys have got a lot going on, but I'm still on the same page as far as what we talked about the last time. If you guys decide that's a good thing moving forward. I feel the department's at the place now to where I feel we could justify some help on my side of it, on the maintenance side. If you tell me different, we always may figure it out. It's a situation where then once again we continue to sub more and more out, you know. On the janitorial side, you know, Julie assures me she really does need it. The nice thing about having someone there, and also from my side of it, is if one of us are gone, whether it be sick or on vacation, then there's someone there. If we did go this direction, the other good thing would be, the hours would be to cover up, you know, I'm there, where's your 6 to 2, 7 to 3, depending on what's going on, sometimes it'll be your nights or on a Saturday, but this person would definitely be there during that interim if I was here till 2 or 3 until the ladies are out of the courthouse. They're that way.
How many more hours is this gonna be over what Dusty was doing?
Dusty would continue to do the 2 hours, which she does now 3 nights a week or close to it. Sometimes an hour and a half, sometimes maybe 2.
No, but she's leaving.
She's leaving.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. She's leaving on, her last day will be the 15th.
So how many extra hours are we looking for the new person?
The new person,
Over Dusty.
if this person came those 3 nights, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and worked for Julie 2 hours from 4:30 to 6:30, then I was asking for 6 hours, 3 days a week for myself. So that'd be 18 hours for me a week and 6 hours.
So it's 18 hours a week more than we're doing now.
Yes, that's what it would be, if we
To
decide.
answer his question.
Yep.
That's my answer.
Yep, basically that.
Just to clarify for me, because I can't recall.
Yeah.
Dusty was working as janitorial.
Yes, janitorial.
100%.
Yep.
The 6 hours.
I mean, she was actually pretty good about changing light bulbs and stuff. She'd get a ladder out, she's seen one, you know, she would do that.
Now I found him.
More so than, Julie doesn't like, she's uncomfortable doing those things, that's fine.
Yeah.
We knew that going into it.
Right.
You know, she does a good job like she does that way.
Yeah.
So,
Well, there's places in the courthouse that was dangerous anyway.
yeah.
So it'd be 24 hours total
Yeah,
for the week.
that would be kind of a,
Each yard to 29.
yeah, that would kind of be a starting point, and then I put a note in there and I sent you guys that, you know, snow removal time, those hours might change, would need to change, during snow removal, or if Julie or myself are gone for an extended period. On her
Vacations?
What's that?
Like for vacations?
Yeah, vacation or sick, or, you know, for more than a day or two.
Would any of the 18 hours include snow removal, or would that be in addition to that?
We could make it included in that, you know, we could, I mean, I'd be fine with setting a limit to
Depends
that.
on-
Or we could say up to 29, you know, that's the maximum you can have, whatever you guys,
Right.
if we decide.
Because there's a way around that also, right? As long as it's not
This is
consistent.
the extra
Occasional
hours.
and sporadic.
What?
Occasional and sporadic.
So like,
I
maybe
think
for
that's
snow.
key.
Yeah.
Word.
That was catching up.
So it's kind of that. Did Nick talk to you guys about our conversation at all for next fiscal year? Did you talk about that today, or did you guys, okay. All right, I talked to him, I had a meeting, good meeting with him, I'm gonna make it quick. On Tuesday, I meant to get there Monday, but we met on Tuesday, and he was very open as soon as, you know, we talked about working together and trying to figure out a better way. As it stands now, I told him, and I think he agreed, from the people out in the sheds, I feel right now that Nick takes about 10% of the phone calls, Connie 15, and I'm guessing, I told him that, and he would agree, he kind of agreed with me that I take 75%. That being said, sometimes between us, the communication gets lost, and then one of us or all of us are the bad guy, because it's not, you know, getting done, that type of thing. And I said, I'm just here to talk to you about it. And I talked with Ray just a little bit short about it, trying to figure out a way to manage that better. And I told him that if he wanted me to help out in any way or to take that responsibility, that part of his, because I know, I found that out, Ray, his money's different than mine, so it's not a situation where if you guys decide we can't just take that money and put it in my budget. But I think Nick was very open, and he was already right there in the office thinking of ways how I could manage that part of his budget. All of the invoices would come across my desk, I'd sign off, and then I'd be responsible that, you know, we have this X amount of dollars. He also told me that if you guys decided, or if we decided to do this in November, he and I would drive around to the sites, make a list, and then he could decide, it's his money, you know, what he might want to do this coming year, and then thus we would create a budget around that. So it went really well. I didn't know, you know, I didn't go there trying, I said, I'm here to try and figure out the best way to be more efficient and make work better. And I don't have to be the guy. You know, maybe you have someone within your department that wants to do that, but I'm willing to do it. I'm not afraid of that, you know, because that's what I do.
Well, I'm just concerned that you say you're overworked now, that you
Stretched
shouldn't,
thin.
you
Yeah.
shouldn't take on any more.
I know that, and I know, and that would be a consideration in July, you know. If I did do that, maybe that's the time where this part-time position does turn in, could. But those are all things, that's something to think about between now and July, I guess. I wrote some things down for you guys just this week, the things that I've done for secondary road. I met with Nick, was one thing. I talked to him about this grate situation. Some of you may or might not have heard. Dave Molnix fell through the grate at the yard site. I don't know if it was a grader or a truck. A year ago, I was told about grates. I took Dave Dorn, he's a fabricator, he's got a fabricating shop, he lives out in rural Ladora. I've talked to Charlie's, I've talked to, everybody's so busy. He's the guy that would come. So he came, he threw a ballpark. I said, give me a ballpark number. He went and measured all the buildings. I went to Nick. This is not, you know, I'm not blaming this on anybody, but everybody's going different directions. So I told Nick, you know, roughly about how much, and he goes, oh, that's quite a bit of money. He says, let me check into that. And so then he and I both got busy. And then it came down to now, you know, somebody fell through. Those are some of the things I was thinking about when I had this meeting with him. So anyway, I met with Dave again, so where he fell through, that grate, another one, we found 3 that he took with him. I said, just fix them. They need to be done. It's a safety deal. So the concrete ledge that they sit on is all broke out on those 3. So he's gonna put support all the way to the bottom of the pit, which is only about a foot. And he's very good. He fixed up the door, a quick fix for us there. So I talked to Nick about that. So I did that this week. I got a call that there's 8 lights out in the Ringo East shed. The main walk, I got a call that the main walk-in door at the yard site will not open or close in the big building. I got a call yesterday that there's fire coming out of the break room electric heater at the Marine shop here in town. Electric heater, I was there this morning.
That's probably a big deal.
So they shut right off.
We should probably put that one in the top.
Yeah, that should move up.
Yeah, I was there this morning. I talked to Ben too. I'm gonna have him do that just because of what's going on. I got the measurements, the kilowatts. So he's gonna take care of that Monday or Tuesday. Broken chair, Connie sent with me. I got that sitting in my office, from the engineer's office. I got a call this week that one of the graders backed into electric pedestal that, Joe and me just did new last year. He's got a 4x4 post on the west side of the shop here. They backed up too far.
Here or no?
Here in town. There's exposed wires, it's working. So Joe knows about that, but it needs to be fixed before, I told him before winter, type of thing. Yeah, so that was things for that part of what I do that happened this week. Things are going really good. I met Kevin Willie at about 10 after 6 this morning. He's starting the painting. We're on phase 3. We're right on schedule at the health department. If you get a chance, stop by Conroy, the concrete's poured there now, and they did a very nice job. Very nice, I told him so.
He always does good work.
Gosh, I mean, you'd be amazed for just a building like that to do a finished job like that's really nice. So, Janine talked about maybe doing some of her events, in there also.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be a good building, for what we have in it, for us down the road. So, yeah, that's some of the things. I feel that I don't have enough time to do the everyday items that I give you a list on as good as I should. I'll be honest with you, I don't. We talk about different things such as, mice and stuff, yeah, and things like that. And I actually did talk to that guy yesterday. He gave me some wax strips and some poison seeds. And he was there yesterday and helped reorganize the traps to put them in the right position. But I think he and I, after talk, he thinks they're dead from the poison that we put out. He don't think there's any more there. But he said one mouse can do 60 droppings in a day. So he said it's usually 1 or 2, and they're usually not in the center of town. If they are, there's not very many. I think we resolved the problem here in about a week or so. I don't know that there's any more here, is there, Jessica?
I haven't seen it.
Yeah. And,
It's okay, they're falling out of the roof of the White House.
and I think we killed 2, didn't we, Jessica? And they can do a lot of damage. Anyway, I'm not gonna talk about mice.
Like a blue strip bag.
Yeah, I got a box of them.
Alright, so what's our thoughts on Scott's proposal?
Well, like I said, for the,
Hey, let me say one more thing, Kevin. I'm sorry. If you decided for me to get someone, I don't mean to interrupt. I guess from my standpoint, if I'm gonna get somebody that doesn't have somewhat experience and I can send to go do it, and I have to be with them every time, then it's not helping me. So this would have to be someone that has a background and someone that we may have to pay $20 an hour in order to get someone like that. That we haven't talked about yet, but I mean, to me, in order to make it better, it has to be someone that has a background, construction or something like that. I feel otherwise it defeats the purpose.
so we're talking about basically 2 separate proposals, really, right? The new person and.
One for Dusty and
Oh,
one.
no, I would want this to be the same person.
No, we're talking about that person to do the extra hours and then.
Yeah, I know, that's just it. So there'd be some janitorial, you're right.
That part of it, you taking.
I never thought of that, so then we'd be paying them that amount. So we'd have to find maybe a medium there.
I think that discussion is down the road.
That's down the road. We're only on the hiring person.
Okay, all right. I'm fine with
Somebody
that.
may not work out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I came here because Dusty was leaving initially, and I thought this would be the time to talk about.
Right, if we're gonna make a change.
Yeah. Yeah. Snow removal's a big thing for me, Gary still wants to come and I can put him in the pickup. I told him that, he can't do any of the heavy stuff.
I don't think you wanna get into that.
No.
Yeah.
What do you think?
We have 3 full-time people at once. Yeah, I remember.
What's that, Kevin?
They had 3 full-time ones, right? Was Brenda considered full-time, Brenda at 8?
And they don't do anything with road department stuff.
Like, yeah. That's a separate discussion, because I'm worried about burying yourself and still not getting caught up.
Right, because that could just be its own animal.
And I don't wanna get to the point where we're doing things that we're not good at either, you know, keep somebody busy.
Yeah, we've been on that.
Yeah. We're at that. We're at that at the health department right now. And that's not Wyndham that did it, but they were put, you know, they had to say this.
I know where. Yeah, brown, use whatever.
Green's ground the world around, except around here.
Out of that courthouse.
Now it's whatever color happened to work.
You definitely want to test them first.
I got shot the first time on green wire.
And you like, this is
I've never had that ever happen before.
That's because I know what I'm doing, I can do this. No, you can't.
because you don't.
I've never been in the courthouse.
Oh, yeah. That's the time the electricity ran backwards once.
I don't learn.
Oh, yeah. What are you gonna do?
I'm okay.
Your wife
He's okay.
with this?
Yeah.
Well, then was that a motion?
Then we're also gonna have to put in what we're gonna pay.
Well,
Do you wanna wait
I
and
think
see?
we ought to start somewhere, but then we could always,
Yeah, start low, yeah, I don't wanna.
yeah. I
That's
don't
the
think
question a lot of them will ask me.
Say
We do.
$20, oh, we're gonna give you, and then what's Julie gonna say?
Right, what's Julie?
Yeah.
That's not fair.
Could you start the interviews first and then just see what comes in and based on experience without committing right now?
I'm fine with that.
I don't know.
salary will be, or wage will be
Based-
based.
based
On experience.
And all we can do is offer them it, and they can accept or not
Right.
accept, I guess.
After that.
I mean, you need a handyman type person or a
Well,
handy
and
person
you-
type.
And it's not necessarily, I mean, Julie knows what she's doing, and so she's.
Yeah, and I told her I would
That
let
can be a
her,
separate issue, I mean, you can't.
I would already told her that they would, she would train them in every part that she does, that way
Yes.
if she's gone.
Yeah, because we can't.
That's
have-
her gig, I don't know cleaning like she does.
And she's working out, okay.
I've had a
Yes.
lot of positive feedback from a lot of offices.
Have you? Well, good.
I have to, it's all been good.
Yeah, we came up here and we discussed her mopping, and she's been actually mopping the floors, and it's, yeah.
Yeah, I've had nothing but good feedback
Yeah, she's doing a really good job.
that way.
That's good.
For now.
Yeah, never see it like somebody too much.
So Kevin made a motion to approve hiring a
Part-time,
part-time employee for the,
to take the position, place of, or whatever you wanna say that.
Not to exceed 24 hours
I'll second that.
as base.
Yeah, 24 hours.
And you may find out, what I'm hearing from this winter, you may not get anything done with snow.
Yeah, and there's some days that are that way.
I'm concerned about.
There was last year.
I'm concerned about that too, how much time you have to spend, you know.
Yeah.
Please remove her from the floor.
Yeah.
any discussion on this? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right,
All right, thank
see
you.
what you can find.
Okay. And like I said, if we do something, you know, maybe down the road, I'm just talking about, in order for him to go a different direction than me, he's almost gonna need something to get there, you know? Yeah, one truck.
Scott, I was talking to Aaron earlier. this
Yeah, you
week
talked
with
about your
my
van.
elections van, and
We could
because
get-
maybe then it would run, and it has a lot of room.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I
Well,
don't.
let's
I
start
mean, I
out with
don't
that.
see a
You
problem.
only use it once or a couple times a year, don't you?
Would you be okay with the maintenance guy just putting a small toolbox or something in the back end and?
Can he clean it, I mean, if they clean it out, so
Put a-
that when we're hauling elections
put a
and
mat
stuff,
down.
I mean, that
Yeah.
would, and
Get
keep
one of
it
those-
clean, just.
That's
to
right,
get
I was gonna
somewhere
ask you,
clean.
cause
Yeah,
you had
it's
mentioned
all
that to
right.
me.
Huh?
I'm all for that.
That's the
It
thing,
needs
most
to
of
be
the time
run.
when I need to use it.
It needs to be ran, that's why it doesn't.
Somehow we can figure
Well, it's
out,
basically gonna stay in town most of the time, you know.
No, I'm good with that.
you know, we'll have to figure out the, you know,
Yeah,
pay
'cause,
for gas or.
You know, doing your wall plates with
I
that.
think maintenance can take care of the maintenance on it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, because there
It should be anything.
I'm
How
just saying-
often you use it?
Right, and that's, I mean, Aaron
Yeah.
had to charge it because it hadn't been run since they used to
Right,
last year.
that's what I mean.
And
Yeah, we always
it's
put
got-
covers on it to get it going.
It's got a lot of room to haul stuff,
Yes.
so,
Yeah.
Just get one of those.
yeah, because we took the seats out of it.
Well, no, that'd be good. If you're fine with that, I'm good with that.
Yeah, as long as, I mean, it keeps kinda clean.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds
Try
good.
that.
Don't get anybody that's chewing tobacco spit on the floor.
Oh, we're gonna talk. I mean, so now
Yes. Yes.
you're out of order.
Okay.
Alright, girls like that.
Alright.
Anything else? Okay. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
You're the only one that-
I got all the other stuff done.
Pretty heavy force here the way it looks.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion
Aye.
carries, we're adjourned. Did I sign minutes?
I did.
I did, okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't let you leave here without it.
Alright.
The what?
Please.
Yeah.
Who's gonna get you a good job?
Right now. We can discuss our engineer and the other.
We need to go somewhere else.
I'm leaving, so.
Yes, we
What was this thing he was talking about with the, with Nick? I heard the word nexus or something, and then,
Who's that?
No, it's you, we need to tell, we need to discuss the same thing. Needs to bring a seed lens in.
Oh, yeah.
what was the general gist of it?
What, who was talking about? Oh, Nick, he was talking about, putting a program together for building, anything that he needed to improve for next year, like if he needed to do any additions or, he got something to redo it. Taking his budget and giving it to Scott to manage it.
Oh, okay.
Because those budgets can't cross, but he's maybe willing to have some of those, you know, if he needs new doors in a shop, or if he needs some of those
That's
things.
fine.
He can
Well,
get
I'll
a
put
budget
one
for
in.
building maintenance
Yes.
on his building, that could come out of his budget.
Oh, okay, so like a budget for building maintenance budget?
Yes.
Okay.
There you go. It's clear as mud.
Where's my, I couldn't figure out what he was talking about.
I was talking,
I thought they made about this kind of.
I haven't had a chance to, I'm trying to find something,
It's a lot less than that.
I'm trying to find something
For some reason,
done
I
in
thought,
the past, and I don't
I thought it was
know.
like 5,000 or
Oh,
something.
I gotta wait on my ride.
Where'd he go?
He waited about trying to get the pickup, oil change in the pickup. And then we have to go out of the city, so couldn't see bringing 2 vehicles. We ran from here.
I'm looking
Does it
to
need
see
to
if
come
I
back
can
here and
find
set
up?
anything.
So
Do you usually take Diamond Trail over there?
Board drive?
a lot of times, but a lot of times we take 6 too.
Yeah.
Depends on which side I was
Because I don't know what, I
That's true.
don't know what's been.
We gotta watch the
done
side
in
of
the
it. I
past.
see they're having, down on Dubuque Street, they're,
What?
they're closing that for what? Some kind of, they're having some kind
Here,
of.
I mean, Nick's trying to complicate it, so we won't push it.
I mean,
We don't want
I heard
to-
it late last night, and I didn't hear
And I
it this
am-
morning.
$1 an hour.
Dubuque Street and Iowa Avenue, so I know we don't.
I think
That
I'll
was
stop.
3,500. That was 3,500.
Don't.
I think for Nick's department, it could
Which one's,
be.
Dubuque's the one you went to.
Or do we have anything in writing
Oh,
that
no.
says, hey? I mean.
oh yeah, no, that's
Here
one.
See y'all, have a good weekend.
Bye,
Check
Rick.
out the light.
That we.
Bye.
See you Thursday night?
I don't go that way very often.
Yes?
so-
Yeah.
Planning on it.
Michael
Still trying to get an estimate on
$7,000
Spicer.
procurement
The
policy.
guy went out there with us, but he got back to us.
Well, I did send Laverna
Please.
a message. I don't think we should charge that Nick an extra $100 to put in a gate. I think.
If it's only
Right, let us, and she said, well, we could save that for rock and gravel, or gravel and dirt, and I'm like.
I agree with you, it's $100.
I'm just,
She's been so
I
good.
got a lot
That's
going
right,
on.
that's what I told
Yeah.
her,
Been
she
so
knocked
good
that
about
down.
everything.
homecoming here today.
I know, it is at
Because
home,
we're
Windsor too.
once we line the fence. it's
Right,
a deal.
right.
I agree with you, I'll talk about that. See ya.
Well, alright. Hey Bruce, you're taking, pictures tonight, right? Onto the
Yes,
game? Alright, well, I'm doing half time, so. if we
she
don't-
told me that you're gonna be there doing the coronation.
Yeah.
We're gonna stay here.
I'm gonna stay as long as I
Are you
can.
gonna stay
Get
here
2
and run
5
all
minute
day?
pictures.
Right now, no fighting.
Order, you know.
That's why you do that.
This way we can throw shit at each other.
Probably,
Yeah, it's gonna be ball.
Hold on.
one house to another. And it's not that far from.
Oh, you're Russell,
Moving is such a.
Yeah.
It's all fun and games until somebody gets
It
an
always
idea.
takes it forever to unpack, and you don't get workman's comp.
But we've got a nice.
So you're just gonna stay for the
I got one.
first part of the game and then bring a good picture?
I'm gonna stay at least till half the time. I don't feel like I've got any pictures. I'm gonna stay the whole game. I can deal with loss.